I think this is the first Elon Musk interview after his exit from the Trump administration. So Doge came in and they tore stuff up. Doge is still there, by the way. Elon's stepping down because he's unpopular and nobody likes him. He was given the Reddit key by Donald Trump. Did you see that? He was given the golden key by Donald Trump, and it had the Reddit logo on it. It's like a $2 novelty key. Let me see if I can find a photo that I'm only seeing low-res photos. You saw the Reddit key? Okay, we have confirmation from other people that it is in fact a Reddit key. That was absolutely photoshopped. Was it? No, it wasn't. It's a $2 little cheapo toy that Elon Musk got. No, it wasn't. I choose to believe it. My understanding was that actually was real because a bunch of people were talking about it. It looked just like the Reddit alien. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Don't distract me. He got the toy. He got the little toy, okay? But Elon has been pissy. Show it. I can't find a high-res photo. Elon has been pissy about the big, beautiful bill because it doesn't codify the Doge budget cuts. Of course, Doge didn't actually cut much of anything. Oh, here we go. So to correct my misinformation then, this is then, oh my God, let me zoom in properly. This is photoshopped? Is that not the little Reddit alien? Dude, that looks just like him. That's the Reddit key. That's the Reddit key. You can't convince me that that's not the Reddit key. Check the top comment here. Is it going to disprove the Reddit key allegations? Ah, okay. These guys are saying that it has a little, that it's this? Is it? Dude, we're already so off base. Dude, it doesn't look like that. ... smile, big round head, ... smile, big round head? Dude, this doesn't look like the Reddit alien. Okay, listen, it's the Reddit key. Bro, it's the Reddit key. Why are you trying to rob life of all joy? Isn't there enough of that? Isn't there enough of that? Also, would it not be appropriate? What are you losing? What are you losing? Reddit key. Elon's mad because he was brought in as a cheap little parlor trick to convince people that he was going to hyper efficiently cut the government with his, Tony Stark-like intellect. And of course, nothing actually happened to that effect. What Doge did succeed in doing is legally and infrastructurally teeing up Doge to siphon a bunch of data on US citizens and give it to Palantir, which we'll talk about soon. So Elon was maybe an unwitting, possibly witting, it's kind of hard to tell, he is very dumb, accomplice in the creation of our cyberpunk dystopia. So that's great. And here he is doing an interview. The only thing that I know about this interview is the fact that he's testy in it. I don't know if he talks about government very much. In fact, I think he makes a pointed effort not.
And this morning, a man who truly needs no introduction, Elon Musk. He's talking with David Pogue.
He is a truly incredible guy, and I don't say that often.
Get to the interview.
In the beginning, to a smooth start.
I noticed that all of your businesses involve a lot of components, a lot of parts. Do the tariffs and the
Great interview. Yeah. So Elon's in a rough spot right now politically, right? Well, he's in a rough spot in a lot of ways. For one, and this is like a corroborated point, his drug use is worsening considerably. I think there's evidence to that point, not only in that spot, the Oval Office from 2 days ago, but also in his behavior in this interview. Additionally, he's not held in high favor by anyone. Democrats despise him across the board, of course. And Republicans are kind of leaning negatively against him. They have been for a while, but even more so now that he's kind of like very publicly denouncing the big, beautiful bill. So his company's not doing well. Politically, he doesn't really have an in-group.
Trade wars affect any of this?
Tariffs always affect things a little bit.
Wondering what your thought is on the ban on foreign students. The proposal, I mean, you were one of those kids, right?
Yeah, I think we want to stick to, the subject of the day, which is like spaceships, as opposed to, presidential policy.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I was told anything's good, but...
No.
But Musk was willing to talk about the Doge firestorm.
You've spoken about how much of a grind and a stress it was on you. And, Tesla's reputation took a hit, your reputation took a hit. People are very upset about Social Security and national parks and air traffic and food safety and cancer research, Alzheimer's research. Now that you've had a chance to look at it, might there have been a different approach?
I think what was starting to happen was that, it's a bit unfair because, Doge became the whooping boy for everything.
It's really wild how even though he was given the go-ahead to talk about anything, Elon very obviously said, let's not talk about presidential policy, because he personally doesn't want to go into it. Not because he's trying to avoid the topic altogether, because he immediately jumps on the opportunity to defend Doge. It's not some kind of broader effort to stay apolitical in this interview and refocus on the company. It's just he's personally upset. It's crazy how undisciplined he is.
So if there was some cut, real or imagined, everyone would blame Doge. I've had people think that like somehow Doge is going to stop them from getting their Social Security check, which is completely untrue.
Well, I guess I was just thinking about the,
That's not untrue at all. Remember how they started, remember how they made it so boomers could no longer call in to Social Security to amend like problems with their check? And then there were people saying like, if any old people start complaining that they haven't gotten their Social Security check, that means they were fakers. They were like fraudsters who were stealing the check. Any good recipient of Social Security would simply wait for their next life-saving payment to come through without making any noise. Remember that?
move fast and break things, before you really understand what the agency does.
Yeah, I mean, I guess part of it is depends on where you're coming from. So, I'm like a proponent of smaller government, not bigger government. So now if somebody's a
Scraped all of our data, gave it to Palantir, by the way.
proponent of, more government programs and bigger government, and they see, hey, Doge is cutting all these government programs.
Oh no, he's absolutely
then
high
they'll
here.
be fundamentally opposed to that because they just think the government should do more things. That's just a fundamental, I guess, ideological opinion.
He also has a remarkable body. Like when you see how he's standing, he's got his posture on, so that's good, I guess. He does have the Robotnik body a little bit. That's not really his fault, I guess, but it is still funny.
But my frank opinion of the government is that like the government is just like the DMV that got big. Okay, so like when you say like let's have
Wow, that's crazy. The government is like the DMV that got big. Me, man, I can't. Jesus Christ.
the government do something, you should think, do you want the DMV to do it?
And then,
By the way, every experience I've ever had with the DMV, or the DOL as it's called over here in Washington, has been like extremely fine. Like you make an appointment beforehand and then you go in. Like because of budget cuts, like there's one DOL office for like, or there's two for like all of Seattle or whatever. Maybe there's more. There's in the like main area of Seattle. And in spite of them serving the needs of like a multi-million person metropolitan area, you can still pretty reliably like get a same day appointment or at least next day appointment. Go in, you're in there, kablamo, you're done. I don't know. I feel like the bad reputation that the DMV has more to do with car people being Hitlerites than anything else. Like you live in a society where you have like no respect at all for what like the societal infrastructure that goes into allowing you to drive a car, so that 1 hour out of one day once per year that you have to interact with some kind of government institution that fulfills like basic vital necessary functions for this whole thing to keep up, everyone like freaks the fuck out and panics about it. And yeah, they do underfund the shit out of the DMV. I mean, dude, do you think the DMV would run better if it had its same funding but was privately run? Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm sure. Oh, I bet. Oh, I would love that. Yeah. Oh, if only the DMV could run as smoothly and cheaply as our medical system. Your appointment will be in 4 months. It'll cost $2,000. And also, somehow, despite that, the doctors will be overworked and overbooked.
Musk started talking about the Trump administration. I hadn't even asked him about Trump.
And
He is high.
It's not like I agree with everything the administration does. So it's like I agree with much of what the administration does, but we have differences of opinion. There are things that I don't entirely agree with. But it's difficult for me to bring that up in an interview because then it creates a bone of contention. So then I'm a little stuck in a bind.
You brought it up, sir. Dude, Elon must be the easiest interview subject in the world. You really have to do no work with this guy.
Where I'm like, well, I don't want to, speak out against the administration, but I don't want to. I also don't want to take responsibility for everything the administration is doing.
Elon, you're not supposed to say this out loud. You're not supposed to say, I feel uncomfortable speaking my mind against the presidential administration. Remember, we're supposed to be pretending we live in a democracy where actually speaking your mind against power is not only possible, but like normalized and accepted. You're kind of giving the game away a little bit here, where it's all a big cult and there are huge consequences. Dude, nobody talks this way about Democrats. I can tell you this much. Well, they do, but quietly. And it's all like, you don't want to upset Hillary Clinton or whatever, or Pelosi.
In Washington, federal workers say that DOGE has left the government's operations in disarray. And worst of all, it might have all been for nothing.
No. They cut USAID, so lots of people will die from that, have died from that, and gave data to Palantir. Yeah, I've heard that estimate of 300,000 people having died from Musk's cuts. I haven't looked into that, but it's not like impossible.
Musk claims to have saved the government $175 billion so far, nowhere close to his original target.
Also not
or
true.
even his revised target. And that was before the president's new spending bill passed the House. According to the Congressional Budget Office, it will add $3.8 trillion to our debt over the next 10 years. It's now being...
Also, he hasn't cut 175 billion. I think the estimate I've heard is around 40. Around 40 billion is what he cut. And the cuts are going to end up costing the government more because of all the damage and inefficiencies in the way he conducted those cuts, the people who had to be rehired, the people who were put on like paid leave or whatever, whatever was cut, like we will lose far more than that, like over 100 billion, just mopping up the damages.
Debated in the Senate.
So, I was like disappointed to see the massive spending bill, frankly, which increases the budget deficit, doesn't decrease it, and undermines the work that the DOGE team is doing.
I actually thought that when this big, beautiful bill came along. I mean, like, everything he's done on Doge gets wiped out in the first year.
I think a bill can be big or it can be beautiful, but I don't know if it can be both. My personal opinion.
Personally, I'm massively in favor of this because Elon does not direct Republicans the way that Trump does, but he does have a sizable following specific to him. So if he ends up wedging people against the Republicans and causes more infighting between like retard Silicon Tech, like libertarian types and the, more openly fascist, well, not that, Elon's openly fascist. I guess the more like financially, the more nominally fiscally irresponsible fascists, whatever. If there's a schism, there's a schism.
And here's where the story gets a little complicated. Right after our interview, CBS News posted a clip of it to promote this very report. It was that part where Musk criticizes Trump's spending bill.
Yep.
And his remarks became news. It went all the way up to the White House.
Yeah.
Mr. President, Elon Musk in a television interview criticized the one big, beautiful bill.
Within 24 hours, Musk announced that his time in the Trump administration was officially over. Out of Doge, out of government. He said that the reason was
that... I actually didn't know that timeline. I didn't realize that was the timeline. My understanding was this interview was conducted right after he exited the White House. Okay, that's interesting. Actually, if anything, that's a little funnier because it implies this interview actually prompted that departure. That's really funny. So that literally, like, so him saying like, I don't want to criticize them, I don't want to, I don't want to start fights or whatever. That was when he was still being held in some grace in the White House. He actually blew that whole thing up. That might explain why he was so high during that departure, because that wasn't like a, well, we've made this decision amicably and I'm leaving now departure. That was a, well, I made international news by stupidly blathering about my differences with the president in this interview, and now I'm on my way out kind of departure. Jesus, that is crazy.
His limited 130-day stint as advisor was ending. But until that moment, he'd been saying that he still intended to work on Doge part-time.
Doge is going to continue just it's as a way of life. And I will have some participation in that, but as I've said publicly, my focus has to be on the companies at this point.
Truth is, the Trump-Musk relationship had already seemed to be cooling.
Yeah, it's been going in that direction for a while. But again, yeah, Doge still exists. It's just probably like a wing of Palantir now. Oh, I was looking for this clip, by the way, because I remember we only saw like the highlights of this interview, but Elon gave us another classic K-hole bit during this interview too.
So we're about to see Flight 9 here. So give me a rundown. Like
He's
right
so
now,
funny,
we're
man.
T-minus 4.5 hours. What's going through your head right now?
I have a lot going through my head, actually.
He's so funny, dude. He's so funny. Oh, brother. Elon got into a shouting match with Scott Bessent on the way out too.
Secretary Garrett, we have this reporting that Elon Musk and Treasury Secretary Bessent had a shouting match in the West Wing over who should run the IRS. What can you tell us?
Yeah, that's right. This took place about a week ago and happened in a hallway near the Oval Office, the two going back and forth about the person who had then been tapped to lead the IRS. The IRS has had something like 4 different acting heads already in the Trump administration. It's been a bit of a hot potato. Bessent and Elon Musk disagreeing in that moment. The White House has since tried to put a positive spin on this, calling the disagreements a normal part of any healthy policy process.
I'm sure.
This is a president who has liked, really throughout his public career, having his advisors fight and disagree and may the best idea win. And
well, hold on. That's not necessarily true. Trump has been allergic to letting infighting leak out to the public ever since the first administration, where all of his efforts were undercut by constant infighting and division between the people that he's appointed. Like, it was a revolving door in his administration. Since then, I think he's tried to crack down at like a lot more, Like, think of how little fuss there was over Mike Waltz, for example. Or even Elon leaving here. They're very clearly being tight-lipped about it. Like, under first term Trump would have been bitching Elon the out, not just now, but like months ago, That
seems to be the way the White House is casting this shouting match between Scott.
Is that why he had a black eye? Well, people are saying the reason he had a black eye is because Stephen Miller punched him, because Stephen Miller's left-handed and the black eye was on Elon's right side, and apparently Elon took Stephen Miller's like ex-wife or something on his way out. I have no idea. I don't know. It's charming. I guess I need to bite into a little bit more there. I also just have a difficult time believing any narrative where Elon's able to charm a woman. I guess it seems like he mostly just like bribes them and sends them vials of semen. His current wife? Okay. Scott Bessent is also left-handed, allegedly. Well, he is gay. That's not a joke. Being gay and being left-handed are correlative for some reason. Don't think we really know why. Obama was left-handed? Really?
Trump used to post about Musk about 6 times a week, but by April, he'd stopped mentioning Musk altogether.
Today it's about a man named Elon.
Still, on Friday, they held a media event at the White House to confirm their mutual admiration and to leave the door open for future collaboration.
And Elon's really not leaving. He's going to be back and forth, I think. I have a feeling.
The Doge team is doing an incredible job. They're going to continue doing an incredible job, and I'll continue to be visiting here and be a friend and advisor to the president.
Musk might be the first to admit that his Doge experiment gave him a black eye. Like the actual black eye.
Okay. It seems like now they're just doing like wrap up. I have to say though, the fact that Elon apparently, and you have to assume this based on the way he's behaving, that Elon actually thought that Doge was about cutting cost and not about doing a big pantomime distraction that allowed him and the Trump administration to gain closer access to the data of Americans and worm their way into the federal bureaucracy. Like, he actually thought it was about saving on the budget. That is actually insane. Like, with that level of power and influence, he actually thought, who was talking to him about that? I believe Trump believes this because he has no idea what's going on, but like, Jesus. Well, Elon is stupid. Yeah, but like, I guess I'm still capable of being surprised by that fact. At least like its severity. I don't know. The idea of being in his position and genuinely believing that, of drinking that Kool-Aid. Do we know who they're saying is in charge of Doge now? Well, officially, Doge has been run by somebody else for a long time. Elon hasn't been directly coordinating Doge for months. In practice, it seems like the information and the connections that Doge has developed, largely them worming their way into every branch of the administrative government, them having like essentially like commissars there looking over everyone's shoulder, tapping into lines, pulling data onto private servers. It seems like this is all being used for Palantir now. Unfortunately, those guys are pretty competent. Anyway, things are going poorly enough as is. So if Elon wants to facilitate a bunch of stupid infighting, go him. Good for him. I'm happy to see it. Really, I am. I don't know what kind of difference it's going to make.